Welcome back to the channel. Today I thought we could look at a face mask that I thought I'd buy because I like clay masks, and kaolin masks are something that I find quite useful, but sometimes they can be quite expensive. Now this one is meant for a younger skin. It's Dermalogica Clear Start range, which is meant for teenagers, maybe people younger that have little issues that tend to be related to hormonal skin, oily skin breakouts. So it's a fizz mask. Now I ignored that it was for blackhead clearing because when I read what was in it, and it was the kaolin and the sulphur, I thought that sounds like it might be quite an interesting mask to try when you've got an oily combination skin. I did try it, and the fizz is quite unusual. To me, the fizz feels like when, if you're a therapist, when you use microcurrent, when you start the current and it's this little tingle in your skin. So it didn't feel like a fizz to me, it felt almost like a current tingle, but it didn't last very long, just a few seconds. So let's try on a little bit of the cheek and the forehead, and we'll see what this Dermalogica fizz mask is like when you actually try it on a client. So this is what it looks like. You get a tube of it, or like a dispenser. I don't mind these dispensers, but I always feel as if you can never get to the bottom of it. Sometimes I prefer a tube because you can actually just cut it with the scissors and get right in there, but you never know what's been left in here that you couldn't quite access. But you don't need much of this at all. You could use a brush, but I'll just use fingers today because when you're at home, chances are you will just be using your fingers. And remember, with a mask, it's what you put on the skin that's actually touching the skin that's doing the work. There's absolutely no point building a mask to layer upon layer upon layer, because the mask is not touching the skin and is just building up these thick layers. You're just wasting money. And let's be honest, these masks aren't cheap. If you want to make your own masks, you can, and bring the price right down, but please don't put any more than that thin layer on, because otherwise you're just wasting money. So I'll just put a few pumps out. So you can see here that it doesn't look like a clay mask at this point. It just looks more like a creamy mask, almost like a lotion. But what we'll do is we'll just start applying it to the cheek. I'm not going to go over any facial hair today. So because this is for congestion and for oiliness and to prevent I nearly said blackouts, blackheads is what I meant. You wouldn't use this on a sensitive skin, you wouldn't use it on a dry skin. You know yourself that you've got to make sure that you do a patch test if it's something new. So there's all these things that you take into account, especially when it's a mask that's got a bit of an interesting story to it, and in this case, the fizz. So you can see that that was only, what, 2-3 pumps? And, oh, I can feel, I don't know if you can hear that? Can you hear the fizz? That doesn't take long at all. So I'll leave that now. You only need 3 to 5 minutes on this, and then you wash it off. Again, I'll just use just a face cloth today to wipe it off, but in reality you would actually just wash it off, splash it off with water, and then continue with your routine. Obviously as well, you make sure it's on clean skin, which we've done, and do your facial routine, and then there's a little bit there. Do your facial routine, make sure that your skin's nice and clean beforehand. You're wasting your time, and you could actually make a situation worse if you put a mask on over makeup or over skin that is not clean, because then it can't do its job if the surface that it's working on isn't already prepped and prepared. So the texture, as you can see, look, that's like a foam now. Can you see that? Just working away at the foam. That's very interesting. So if you've tried this mask, let me know. Look at the foam. You can see why you wouldn't leave it on too much, because it does change its formulation, it changes its consistency, and what you don't want to do is overstimulate the skin, oversensitize the skin. You don't want to create any redness. If someone's incredibly sensitive, they could actually give themselves a different set of issues. So you want to make sure with a mask like this that you're following the manufacturer's instructions. Remember, patch tests are gold, and if you're really not sure how your skin will react, if it says 3 to 5 minutes, just give it the 3 minutes. So I reckon we're around about 3 minutes now. So you would be washing this off, but what we'll do is just wipe. So there's not an excessive amount of redness there, but I wouldn't be massively concerned if there was, because it's going to be a stimulating mask. Clay masks are stimulating. They will possibly create a mild redness and erythema in the skin. But if you are interested in trying a fizzing mask, I'd say go for it, because it is a very pleasant experience. Unlike other clay masks, it doesn't feel like it's stripping the skin. This particular one, this Dermalogica one, it's obviously you'll use your moisturiser afterwards, and it might even be nice to do a little facial massage, but don't go in with too rich a product, or again, don't overstimulate with what you've already done. But if you want to try a different type of clay mask, if you're looking for something that will help to absorb any oiliness or prevent breakouts without being too harsh, it's also not perfumed, which is very helpful too, then that could be the perfect one for you. So having bought it as a little bit of a question mark, I was interested. I thought, is this a gimmick? What do they mean by fizz? That's the way that I would describe it. It just felt like a tingle, and almost like that feeling when you turn on the current when you're using a little microcurrent. If you've used it, tell me how you would describe the fizz. But you saw there how it changed its formula, it changed its texture and consistency. So I'd love to know your thoughts. If you want to see more of this style of video, you can let me know. Have a great day, and I'll see you again soon.